Well, today I'm in Yorkshire, in the city of Leeds, and I've come to the Harehills cemetery. Now, Leeds has a number of cemeteries, and this is out on the northeast side of the city, a mile out from the centre, and it's Harehills. There's a large notice board as we come in with a map of the cemetery, and we came in at the left hand side down Kimberley Road. On the right hand side as I come in, I see that the majority of these stones have been pushed over, and on the stones are pinned notices saying it's done by Leeds City Council for safety reasons. Of course, that's one solution. The other solution would have been to secure them properly to a stake so that they didn't fall over. One in front of me that has survived the Leeds City Council is William, the beloved youngest son of George and Sarah Hogan, who died 1913 in his 32nd year. Beneath that we've got George and Sarah. I notice also some war graves. There's two there and one over there, and I'm going to pick this one standing on its own down here. Oh, the devastation in this graveyard it's not a pretty sight. Where they've not collapsed into the soft soil, they have been vandalised or pushed over by the council. It's not a very pretty sight at all. This is driver J.F. Beadnell, Royal Army Service Corps, 1945, age 37. Duty called and it was answered. Now I'm reading that there's 130 plus war graves in this cemetery. Let me just show you one or two as I go past. Second Corporal J.F. Hebditch of the Royal Engineers, 1919, aged 32. And if we move up there, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in the distance. There's a group here that seem to have resisted the temptations of the Leeds City Council. That one there is to J.R. Crossland. Moving across to a more modern one, William and Ethel Roberts, and it's their daughter Winifred. The one next to it didn't survive the attention of the council. There's three up here which are still standing. Let me have a look at those. One on the left, Leslie Morrell, only son of Fred and Ada Watkinson, 1926, in the 16th year, possibly 15th year. Coming down to this one, that's Millward, and the one with the black cross. This is Jane White, age 77, and also Jane. At the top I see George, the beloved husband of Jane White, and then Jane underneath, 1950. Let's carry on walking down the main path towards the central building, presumably the Chapel of Rest. A couple there have lost their crosses. The other cross has been snapped off. Two more without their crosses. Three behind. Alfred Howard, 1918. Alongside it is Hawksworth, 1919. Joseph Marsh, 1918. And another one that has been deliberately toppled. You see the council sticker? Alice, the wife of George Frederick Williams. Now, those stickers are fairly fresh, so I think this toppling exercise has only happened in the past few months. Now there's a couple over here. This one, the two columns have lost their tops. The one on the left is still there. You can see the sort of top it should have. It's almost like a chess piece. We can see here Joseph William, husband of Mary Mann. Well, the cross has gone from that one. Let's go across here. There's a couple of angels. This is Thackeray. And that's quite nicely done, although the stone has weathered on her face. And if I come across to the left, there's another one here. The stone is not weathering very well, it may be a bit soft. Fern Elizabeth, known as Lily, wife of John Bentley, brackets butcher. I don't know if that was his profession. And, well, I don't have to tell you what I'm seeing. It's heartbreaking when they don't care. These can be staked to stop them toppling, if that's a real risk. Takes a little bit more trouble, but it does preserve our history, our heritage. That one they haven't toppled yet, although it's leaning. Look at this angel over here. Oh, she's lost her head and her arm. Ernest Mottershaw, 1922. Now if we go over the road here, there's some older stones here which have been left alone. Although they're at one or two angles, I think I'm seeing something I saw once before in Leeds in another cemetery. If I'm not mistaken, these are Guinea graves. Now in the past, when you were very poor and couldn't afford a full burial, you would have the body put into a common grave, and then you'd have the details put on a standard stone like this, along with a lot of other names, and it would cost you a guinea, £1 and 1 shilling. And this is a record of a Guinea grave. Top one is John Knight, October the 1st, 1911, aged 56. And the same grave is Alice Clough, 1911, aged 25. And we can pan down looking at all the names. Towards the bottom you've got some real youngsters, 11 months, 9 months, 2 years and 12 years. And there's whole rows of these Guinea graves memorials. Now it's quite likely that these are so special that they may have preservation orders on them, and that's why they haven't been pushed over, despite some of them at rather a difficult angle. This one here, we're now in 1909, so you see we're moving left to right in date order. And all the way along here are rows of Guinea graves. Hundreds of names, 10 on each stone possibly, and we've got oh, probably 100 plus stones here, so possibly thousands of names. The only memory standing of these people, simple people, poor people. Let's look at this one. Elizabeth Skelton, 57 years. Martha E. Stringer, 74. Sarah Elizabeth Hunt, 54. Edna Benton, 17. Florence Elwood, possibly, Elboard, 19. Then 35 and 55. Pop across to this one. John Fryer. This is 1926. 21 years, 26 years, 70, 34, 66, 71, 11 months, 9, 20 and 5. Well, although the main graveyard is a huge disappointment, I'm really glad we found these Guinea graves. Someone here has cleaned one of the names up. Presumably a family historian has been here and just found their ancestor or relation, Charles Eason, 1925, 24th, Christmas Eve, aged 29. And they stretch right the way down there, the Guinea graves. I mean, if you're interested in graveyards, then it's worth coming here to see the Guinea graves. They're remarkable. A record of the common people. Tucked amongst this section are a couple of war graves. This one in a very grey, grubby type of stone. It's Rifleman F. Wells, King's Royal Rifle Corps, 13th of December 1919. And immediately across the way are two more. This one again in the same grey stone. Private L. Hawkins, Royal Defence Corps, 27th of November 1919, aged 43. And right opposite, spin round, we've got the flowers growing in front of it. Private F. Eden, Labour Corps, 1919, aged 43. I mentioned earlier that there were over 130 war graves in this cemetery, and here in front of the War Memorial we have a number of them. Now this one on the right here, interesting, you don't see so many of these. This is from the Soviet forces, who were of course alongside us fighting the Germans. Roman Steklo, Soviet forces, 1945. I'll just look at this row here, taken at random. J. Higginson, Royal Artillery. G. Lambert, Royal Army Ordnance Corps. E. Britton, Pioneer Corps. S. H. Smith, Royal Army Service Corps. And the Leicestershire Regiment for T.A. Jackson. Let's wander across to the main memorial. Now the regiment here was the Leeds Pals. Kitchener recruited people initially based on the towns that they were living in, and it gave some sort of camaraderie, some sort of friendship when they went out to fight. The problem was though, when one regiment got badly beaten, it was a major loss to that particular city, and the policy, I believe, was dropped later in the war because of the problems back home when large numbers of a single town were killed. So we're looking at a panel here. Private W.H. Armstead, aged 43, 1917. There's about 10 on each panel. We're looking at 9 panels, so we're looking at 90 names here. Private R. Mosey, West Yorkshire Regiment. Lance Corporal Ray, Military Police Corps. Private Smith. Driver D. Townend, Royal Army Service Corps. To one side is another memorial, and this is to those that gave their lives in the Second World War. There's about 15 names on here, starting at the top with driver W.H. Atkinson, Royal Army Service Corps, 1947. If I move across to the other side, Private M.R. Driffield, 1945, East Yorkshire Regiment. And here, standing on its own, is a memorial to a German fighter, soldier, Heinz Meyer, 1925 to 44. So he was only 19 years old. Presumably he was brought back here and died in the hospital. Might have been on board an aeroplane that crashed, of course. But he's remembered along with the British soldiers. Over this side there's a group of 6 stones, and these are listing the names of those that died but are not buried in this churchyard or graveyard. This one is buried in St Mark's Churchyard, Woodhouse, A. Wallace. Buried in Morley St Mary in the Woods, Congregational Chapel Yard. If I move back to the row behind, buried in Little London Baptist, buried in Yeadon Methodist and Greenhill Methodist. This one is Jean Coultas, a Wren, WRNS, and died on HMS Kestrel, aged 20, in 1944. Further into the graveyard, it's caught my eye because of the different shape of stone. And this is because it is for somebody from the Netherlands, Holland. Died in 1941. Remembered here, buried here. Well, I've walked quite a long way into the graveyard, several hundred metres, and there's another patch of what I'm calling, and what I believe are called, Guinea graves, multiple names on the stones. These seem to be dating from the early 1930s, so obviously it was a practice, something that went on into relatively recently. This one here, 1931, Catherine M. Wood, 55, Jesse Greaves, 39, then age 21, 49, 77, 53 and 31. All mixed up. Males and females, young and old, all remembered on the same stone, and presumably all buried in the same common grave. One there for 5 weeks. And again, there's no sign here, despite the angles, that the council have been at work pushing them over. So I suspect I've got preservation orders on them. I hope so. Well, I've gone right to the far end of the graveyard now. There's a group here of modern graves. And then right behind, you can see this fence with the spikes on the top, and inside there are a lot of memorials, but they're horizontal memorials, and when I look through the railings I can see that they have the Star of David, and this must be the Jewish cemetery, but it's particularly fenced off and protected. Now I've moved on and I've gone past those railings, and I'm not quite sure why they're there, because there's complete freedom of access into this Jewish graveyard. It's nice to see that. So these are all the stones. They're all laid level with the ground. The ground is running downhill. I'll just show you one of the Jewish memorials, maybe a couple. There's one to Bertie Selinski. You see the cross of David, the six-pointed cross on each one. And this is Morris Bentley. And there's quite a number of these there, right there up the hill there. The Jewish cemetery. And I will just show you this. This is a first in any cemetery. In the centre is a large tower with the CCTV camera on the top. And as I've been walking around, the camera has been rotating and watching me do this video. I don't have a problem with that, but it does indicate the sort of problems they have in this cemetery. Probably with vandalism, or people sleeping here or taking drugs in here. A CCTV tower in the centre of Harehills Cemetery. Well, I'm walking up back towards the entrance I came in. A lot of modern stones here, small ones. There is a problem here with the soft ground. It's a pretty big cemetery, is Harehills. Let's take you across the other side. And we'll drop down onto this one with railings. Michael J. Walker, 1998. Mary Molly Walker, 2002. Keep on dancing. Just look at this. These are stones, not very big stones, at the most half a metre tall when they're put upright, and they've all been toppled one after the other, pushed over, presumably by the council. There's a modern one in there. Now there's one still standing as it should stand. I don't know how they missed that one, but look. Vandalised. All the way along. All the way along this row. And down the other row. Now they are so small, those stones, that if they did topple, highly unlikely, if they did topple, well, they're not going to do serious damage. Look at them all. Now the row behind, they seem to have left some. Maybe they just got tired of pushing them over. Look. All these stones, but interesting, they're all the same. They're all the same. You know, when they're originally standing, these were just rows and rows of identical stones. Let's have a look at one that's still standing. Thomas Smithson, 1962, age 65, and his wife. So they are family stones, pushed over, row behind. Look at them all. Absolutely outrageous. And this one left. And the couple up there still standing. Why? And across the path there are more. Now, putting aside the damage that's been done to them, why are there rows upon rows of identical stones? Was it a budget memorial for people? A step on perhaps from the Guinea graves, 1957, John Herbert Barker, They're all dedicated to one family. That's 3 members of the Barker family, Babingtons, Rowe. And look at them. The whole area here is these identical stones. A very clear one over there. Let's have a quick look at that. So what was the deal here? Gladys Lillian Cox, 1957, 64, 2013. There's something here that we don't really understand at the moment. I'm going to conclude the video at this point. Do come to Harehills in Leeds. The Guinea graves are very well worth seeing. Hope you enjoyed the video. Till the next time.